Did I make this entire video just to complain about not seeing Cillian Murphy's ass? I'll never tell. Alright, I'm probably going to title this video something along the lines of Barbie was the best movie that ever came out and Oppenheimer is trash. It's the flop of the summer. I think deep down though, you know that's not really true at all. Not in the slightest. These movies were both fantastic in their own right. If you haven't seen both of them, you definitely should go see both. So yeah, you've been clickbaited. You've been bamboozled. Led astray, if you will. You probably have trust issues now, which means you're just like me, so we're in this together. Both of these movies were fantastic, and I really enjoyed them. But I think I actually enjoyed the Barbie movie more, which was basically the opposite of what I was expecting. I kind of figured the Barbie movie would be funny, but it's funny because it's like bad. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a stan now. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. I'm gonna be rocking pink for the rest of the year. I'm switching up my entire wardrobe. But why, I guess? Why did I enjoy the Barbie movie more? Really just cause. There isn't a super objective reason why I liked one over the other. It was just my subjective experience of both. I just found the Barbie movie to be more fun. However, there is a sort of objective reason why there's a bit of a split, because while I felt like the Barbie movie, while I was watching it the entire time, I was super engaged. There was one thing that kind of took me out of Oppenheimer that made the experience a little bit less flawless, I guess you would say. And what ended up really throwing me off about Oppenheimer was Florence Pugh's titties. Yep. Now, before you start judging me, I need you to just give me just a few minutes to explain exactly what I mean here, because it's probably not what you're thinking. First of all, I love Florence Pugh. She's a fantastic actor. If you haven't seen her in A Good Person, you should watch that right now. Also, I love titties, boobs, boobies, cans, knockers, however you want to call them. I'm a fan. I'm a stan, in fact. The question I really have though is, why? Why do we see Florence Pugh's titties in Oppenheimer? Right? And I understand, obviously, Oppenheimer had a sexual relationship, and it even continued after his marriage, and they kind of wanted to show just that aspect of his personality. But you can have those scenes without showing anything. And I know that seems like a small thing, but I try to think of it like, oh, these are real people. Imagine if I get a call from Christopher Nolan, I get this part that I've been waiting for, I've been auditioning for, and it's gonna be a big moment in my career, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so grateful. And then I get on set and he's like, okay, I need you to drop your pants and we're gonna film your balls. Now, not only that, it's like I'm in front of a crew, I'm in front of, my co-cast. This director has this big IMAX camera just zoomed in close up on my sack, just wrinkles in 4K, And then I have to do the scene, I have to remember my lines while the cold breeze is fondling my sack. I'm flaccid, it's super awkward, it's not a good look. And then, if I mess up, we have to retake, and we probably do 40 takes. I'm trying to remember my lines. I have to also be emotionally invested in the scene. And in best case scenario, we get it done quickly. Great. But my balls have been immortalized. They're on this film that's going to be released worldwide. The entirety of humanity, until the end of civilization as we know it, will have access to images of my wrinkly ball sack. You see where I'm going with this? I'm going to die, and my balls in real life are going to turn to dust, but an image of them will be available for any living human being from this point forward. And this is an important film too, so people are going to come back and see it, for historical purposes, even after the entertainment value might have gone away. You know what I mean? The ghosts of my balls will haunt humanity until the end of time is what I'm trying to say, right? Personally, I don't think we need to put people in that situation if we don't have to. And I think it happens a lot in film, particularly to actresses. Let's be honest. We didn't see Cillian Murphy's cheeks one time, right? We didn't see his ass at all. We could have seen it. There were plenty of opportunities. There was a scene where he and Florence's character are both naked. They're just sitting in chairs. You don't see any of his privates. You see her chest the entire time, right? Cillian Murphy has two cheeks. We didn't see one, right? We didn't see not a one. We didn't see anything, right? And that's because we don't need to see it. We don't need it. Did I make this entire video just to complain about not seeing Cillian Murphy's ass? I'll never tell. I think I'm beating those allegations though, because I did see Peaky Blinders, and there's definitely Cillian Murphy ass in Peaky Blinders. Also, to be fair, I saw 28 Days Later, and you can see his entire sack, dick and balls, just everything. And that's also sort of unnecessary. Like, he was in a hospital after the apocalypse. It doesn't make sense for like doctors to just leave a patient just butt ass naked, like full frontal out like that. It didn't make any sense. It doesn't need to happen. It doesn't add to the plot. Like, I'm not like a prude or anything, but I just feel like it's a little off, right? Because the nudity doesn't add to the story, but like what I think is actually worse is it can actually make it a little bit corny and cringy. For example, Oppenheimer's most famous quote, "Now I am become death, destroyer of worlds." Obviously, it's not his quote, but he quotes it from a book, and people know that as like a famous thing that he said. He says it in the movie, which is a moment people have been waiting for. He says it like as Florence's character is like getting on top of him, riding him during sex. So he's like literally penetrating while he's saying this line. Like, people are sitting there like, oh shit, he said the thing. And it's like, I don't know, it just feels like a fucking like softcore porn. It's just like, it's just kind of corny. It doesn't make sense. To be fair, I didn't read the book, so I don't know the real story and if this actually happened, but like, if this was just a creative choice, it's just hella cringy, man. And then like, there's a scene where like Kitty Oppenheimer is like imagining the affair that Oppenheimer's having, and she's like seeing like Florence's character like having sex with Oppenheimer like in her mind, and they're like showing it, and it's just like, I understand like she had jealousy, and I understand you want to show visuals, but once again, it just felt corny. It felt like something you would see in like a late season of Game of Thrones or House of Cards. Like, it just felt like they were trying to do the sex thing just to do it. And it felt childish. It felt corny. It felt like, right, Christopher Nolan is supposed to make this sort of elevated film. It almost seems like a teenage version of him is coming back and saying, oh man, it wouldn't be so cool if Oppenheimer was like, now I am become death, destroyer of worlds, while he's like, fucking dude, that would be so sick. Like, it just feels corny to me. And it took me out of the movie when otherwise I was like really engaged. And I feel like that is like a real actual flaw in the film. Honestly, even though I have that sort of criticism, it's not like a huge deal breaker or anything. It just kind of took me out a little bit. This is in no way me trying to hate on Christopher Nolan, because he's one of my favorite directors. I think the film Interstellar is an all-time great, one of the best films of our generation, and it'll go on to inspire people in the future. The emotion, the sort of complex imagination that he displays, the performances, just incredible. And that can be said for so many of his films. But I'm not gonna lie, for me, right now, Greta Gerwig, she killed it. There's no denying it. Just, she created one of the most fun films. And I don't personally care about the IP, but it doesn't really matter because it's not for me specifically. It's for a totally different demographic, but it's for a huge swath of, women, girls, people who idolized Barbie or played with Barbie growing up, and just created not only like this super huge like cultural moment, but also just like a great film. And I think that's important because now we live in a day and age where like so many big movies are going to be remakes of things or interpretations of existing IPs. And this kind of gives me hope that there can actually be a whole lot of thought that goes into it. And the actual entertainment value and the artistic value can go just beyond like fan service, so it can appeal to people of all different sorts of taste, while also like giving a good message to a core audience. I thought it was great. I thought it was super fun. The funniest movie I've seen all year. So yeah, definitely go watch Barbie if you are on the fence about it. Like, it's super good. And go watch Oppenheimer too. They're both great films. And I'm just kind of shooting the shit, messing around here. Anyway, That's all I got to say. Goodbye.